And so we're looking at the properties of ethers. An ether is basically a carbon chain, usually like a carbon chain alkane, connected to an oxygen, and then connected to a second carbon chain. Ethers, although they have this oxygen, which tends to be electronegative, the dipoles tend to cancel out. And so ethers are slightly polar, but only very slightly polar. And so their boiling points and melting points are higher than the similar chain alkane. And so relative to butanol, this would have a slightly higher boiling and melting point, but not that much higher. Because they contain oxygen, when these evaporate, they become highly volatile, and they're extremely dangerous if they're uncapped. And so you can start a lot of fires this way. You will notice that ethers contain 2 carbon chains. This is actually called diethyl ether, very common in distillations, because there are two ethane groups. Here's an ethyl and here's an ethane. To name an ether that has two different alkane chain lengths on either side of the oxygen, you actually start with the shortest chain. And so this is methane. So we're going to call it meth. Next we say oxy for the oxygen. And then we say ethane. And so this is methoxyethane. You might see ether on your diesel engine. And so ether is sometimes used to start diesel engines because of its high volatility and because of its high explosive flammability. So if your diesel engine is cold or your diesel engine has sat for a while, there are often ways you can inject ether into the cylinder to start it up. It's not a good idea because it strips the oil off the cylinder and it reduces the life expectancy of your engine. Anyways, that's ethers. So just to recap, slightly polar, lower boiling and melting points than similar alcohols, higher than similar alkanes. You name them starting with the shortest chain, followed by oxygen as oxy, and then the name of the longest chain.